Gonna be disruptive.
Yes. Do you want me to leave?
Okay, no, I'll call the select board to order for the town of Damariscotta for March 11th for a budget workshop. Anything add to the agenda, Andy? It's pretty straightforward. You have anything in? No, good enough, so. I guess I would propose where we left off last meeting, we have one more item in capital, which is the fire truck. We can revisit that, and we had some, if I remember right, board, we all had some questions kind of pertaining to the two different recommendations and whatnot, so. That's page 9 of 50 is the projection. And the call, we had two different amounts. Between the department's recommendations and the manager's recommendations, right? It's kind of where we got caught up a little bit. Yeah. So we had, on fire truck, we had, was it 185 for the department request and then 110 for the manager's request?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So,
looking at what John had, the chief had put together for his 30-year outlook on his apparatus replacement. In 2029, when we anticipate the first payment would come due for the bond, whatever bond amount we have to raise, he'd be looking at a funding level going forward at 100 grand for that year.
okay, yeah.
And then bumping up to 120 in 2031 and 140 in 2033, and gradually have a few other increases as it gets closer to another apparatus.
Gotcha.
So looked a little bit closer at what we can anticipate to use for other offsetting amounts that are in our control. When that payment comes due, and I think we'd be closer to having to finance 833, which would drop, the payment, we're trying to get up to 250 is what we were aiming for when we did this last year for an annual allocation in the reserve.
Yeah.
So we were assuming $150,000 payments annually for the truck. That was assuming a higher bonded amount. So if we do the 833, I put it through the Maine Municipal Bond Bank calculator on a 10-year note. It came back, you have the interest amounts in there to about 100 grand, just under 100 grand a year for 10 years.
Okay.
So the annual appropriation for fire truck reserve at the moment, we want to try and get it closer to the 200, knowing that we've still got FY28 and then FY29 when the first payment comes due to make those gradual adjustments as opposed to all at once. So the 110 wouldn't be adequate unless you wanted to make up the difference of 90 grand in 2-year period potentially. Now, if we get other sources of funding like grants, that number comes down obviously, but at the moment, you've only got 2 or 3 years to kind of plan for that increase for a potential debt payment if you don't get the grants.
Yeah, so the Chiefs number is closer, yeah, because where you had a 110, that's just covering it.
We're at 150 this year. So whether you hold that for a year, see how the one grant we put in for this year go, we still got 2 more years to come up with another 50 grand. And that's assuming we don't find additional, other revenue options.
Okay.
And what's the level of the bond that we're talking again?
Approved at town meeting was up to 1.9, I think. But need that, and so 850,000 roughly is what I'm anticipating.
The bond amount. So when I look at this 880, that's the 833.
This sheet's not going to account for.
Oh, I'm looking at.
Oh yeah, so the 880 that's coming close to what I'm anticipating. We would get for other kind of revenue offsets. That would include the amounts from the reserve that we've been putting in. That would account for the TIF revenue. I mean, I'm not assuming a whole lot on a sale of the current one 3 years from now. I'd put a small number on that. There was, I think, one other possible use of fund balance, I think, at a modest amount. Yeah, we did put in for there's two more that are coming up, put in for the same FY 27 federal funding source, but one point. I mean, basically covering the whole remaining balance of the truck is what we're hoping for. Sure.
Yeah, but yeah, and that would just be like manna from heaven, right?
Oh, God, yes.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, so I don't know if you wanna, for this year, hold at the 150 and kind of split the difference between the chief and mine, and then knowing that you still got another couple years to gain another 50 grand. It's a lot
Give
more
us a
reasonable than
little
going
bit
to
of time.
110 and then trying to make up the 90 in 3 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Yeah,
that feels
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, now knowing that, the
And-
110's way low, and it's not, yeah.
and if we don't get it this year through the CDS, then there's a possibility we can do it again.
There's possibility.
But,
Yeah.
but,
Get a little bit tighter in terms of when the payment comes due, you might need to get a text or anticipation note,
Yeah.
essentially.
but if we knew it was coming, then,
Right.
then that's something. you can consider.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Sounds good.
yeah, so
That makes sense.
the 150 makes sense, I think, then,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
yeah.
I'll make a motion to recommend the 150,000 appropriated for the fire truck in the capital reserve.
Thank you, Darren. Have a second?
Second.
Oh, okay, that's Tom. Tom got it. Yeah. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, 150 it is. All right. Okay. So that finishes up the capital, folks. Yeah. Take a break. You good? Yeah. All right, so I guess at this point, we can go back to admin or back to operating, sorry, and we'll just start from the beginning there. Suppose we can just go through right into the summaries, not summaries, but the worksheets here. So page 20 of 108. One. Admin. And yeah, really, if anybody, if we have any questions, same thing, just holler the page number and a line item. If anybody has anything that jumps out or any questions, anything. Andy, anything on admin that stands out to you?
Just note going down through it, the audit on page 21.
Yeah.
The difference between the two there is I'm anticipating the need to do, and this is kind of subject to the timing of the audits and where things stand.
Right, yeah,
But we're gonna have to do a single audit, so we got the 1.2 million last fiscal year.
Yeah.
So that's gonna trigger anything over 750 in a single
Yeah.
year from the feds will require that.
Yeah.
That's I think a $5,000
Mhm.
cost.
So this is just for one audit, right? The 17.5.
Yeah, well, that's, my number includes the ability to do a single audit.
Right.
The audits, 14 grand. For starting next year, and then you'll see $15,000 for fiscal year 29. There was an increase from 11 to 4, it was 11 to 10 or 11
It was
to
10-5.
10.5 to 14,000, and then they noted in the letter, when we shared it a few weeks ago, that there was just some changes to the Gatsby reporting stuff. It's gonna require some additional lift on their end for
Okay.
the work they do. That was part of it, and then they froze the call again. They did a multi-year price for us, second year in a row. So this one's also accounting for, like, well, maybe we should step it up, I think, a little bit for that third year.
Yeah,
So I'm confused. You're saying that if we only commit to one, we're not getting a discount for the multi-year? Is that what it is? I mean,
The 17,500 affords us the difference there, affords us the single audit, which we're obligated to perform.
Yeah, so that covers everything.
yeah, can I ask a different way maybe, is that, so far we've only, the last audit that was officially done was 22? Three. 23. Is it possible they could do 24 and 25 next year?
Complete it this year.
Yeah,
I don't know if we'll complete it this year, but you've already started
Yeah, they've
sending.
got everything.
and if we, have we reserved funds for both of those? years?
We've paid for some of those already. We pay for a certain amount up front, and so
Okay.
we've been, I think, been able to generally keep up with these. We can do carry forwards for anything that's still unspent from those
Yeah.
into the next year if it hasn't been finished. Which we can look at again in June, July. But yeah, I don't,
Okay.
I'm hoping there'll be one of these years in the next two that they might catch up. But they did at least ask for both years at once. Usually it's just not 1 year of information at a time. And so there's.
Yep, so they've got all my 24, they don't have all my 25, but all the 24 stuff is there, they've got probably 65% of the 25 stuff.
Yeah, but it's,
Yep, so it's just on them right now, and once they start plowing through it,
Yeah,
it's pretty quick.
right,
just come down, yeah,
Okay.
manpower on their end.
And it's possible that for us, the change in the school structure might help a little bit because it's one budget rather than 6 budgets that they're working through on that end.
but just in terms of
Yeah,
Or
timing,
4 budgets,
just in terms of how quickly they get through it.
hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the only real difference in that page, we talked about the health insurance.
Yeah, that's the thing that struck me is as I went through, it's just how much that health insurance increase just across the board.
Oh, hell, yeah.
Just, I mean, when you, it's 9%.
Yeah, not surprising.
And
This,
when you think
yeah,
about how much employee cost. It's just.
Yeah.
Just a hole. that you-
It's-
you-
it's-
You start with.
yeah, yeah.
So,
But I mean, we've seen, you know, private sector stuff. I mean, we've seen 25 and 30% increases in insurance. So 9% is like, ooh, that's cheap, you know, but I know company wide, yeah, we've hit some 25 and 30% increases on it.
yeah,
This
yeah,
was a
it's
big
insane.
hit that they've done.
Yeah, it's
quite a
it's
few
crazy,
years.
yeah.
yeah, no, at some level,
I like
you
it,
think,
but
you think about it, it's just not sustainable. For,
No.
Oh, it's,
for any of these municipalities, they
Yeah.
aren't anywhere, so.
yeah,
Schools, so,
Yep.
no, it makes it tough, doesn't it? And it's like, yeah,
yeah,
it's almost at this point, it's a fixed cost in there. Like, what do you reduce the line item? And what do you do? I think it's, yeah,
yeah,
frustrating. I got a note back here, Andy, on page 20.
Mhm.
On 1338 on software licenses, and maybe you can, I can't decipher it, you've got 28.6 on there. I have a note on there at $6,000 for some reason, do you know why I put that note on there? Can you decipher
I,
You
my
decipher.
note is a new hosting fee and Trio.
Okay, so I put the number and Dan put all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
The annual increase was about $3,000 and then the hosting fee is another $3,000.
okay, that's, yeah. It was, yeah, the 28.6 was including that 6,
Yeah.
up over the,
Yeah.
okay, including the 22, all right.
Yeah,
I just have the number and I didn't put the description. That
so,
good.
yeah, that's gonna be the number going forward then, 28 for a
Plus,
while.
plus probably 2 to 3 to 4% each year on the annual maintenance cost.
Okay,
They were gonna hold that for us, so the maintenance costs are gonna hold that for it 3 years. It's a great running song.
You're being recorded.
They did say they would hold that maintenance line for us for 3 years. But the maintenance is like $800 a month, so it's not,
Oh, not the annual,
not the software cost.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Mm,
So as it stands right now, we're administration. Revenue.
so the last one in. No, it's not, but it's the payroll liabilities number.
Mhm.
That's the 9096 on page 25.
Okay,
So that's-
9150.
We're still funding a reserve with that one, or is?
that's a separate, and there's no proposed funding for FY 27 at town meeting for the reserve. This
Right.
is for, where I've put, merit considerations in this as opposed to assigning them to any particular staff line
Okay.
now. We offer, from an old resolve from the board, a bump if you have certification for the positions you're in.
Yeah.
So it'll afford us to be able to do that. We had a longevity stipend or recognition as well in that document, and then
Yeah,
the legal contribution. I don't think In Trio, I think we're gonna create another separate
Separate
line,
one.
but in the budget doc here, that's still afforded in that line there for the mandatory contribution to paid leave.
I know,
It's fine.
we're looking at, yeah, I mean, with the manager proposal, we're looking at what, 5.9%. Increase for the last year, so 36,000, yeah, I struggled.
Well, but that's with the 9% built in there for the health
For,
insurance.
for health insurance, yeah, so,
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
were able
I,
to bring some of the lines down a little bit. I mean, still supporting training, but some of the actual costs, came down a little bit on that.
yeah, there's a few that, yeah.
I'm still failing to see the shave point.
Well, that's the struggle we all run into when we get into the weeds on stuff, it's just like admin, like where do you, yeah. You know, use, I take 3 stamps away from you this year,
That was one I had notes on. It was the very first line, the postage. I mean,
Postage?
I started to go through.
Yeah,
Like what's required, what are we obligated
Yeah.
or whatever.
I'm glad you did that. I was reading that earlier and it's like, yeah, you have to look at certain things in there
Yeah.
for,
Like we don't have to mail tax bills, but it's really prudent that we do.
Probably good.
Especially if we can put
Well,
something else in there that's going out anyways
Yeah.
as a, hey,
Well, you
a
already shaved it down from last year's action.
little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what the price of stamps may or may not do in the next 16 months or so.
yeah.
But that again is one of the items you don't see the increase in. Across the board.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been-
this November will be a big election for the state, and so I imagine it's possible we're gonna see a few more ballots going out than we would have last year.
Yeah.
So that'll hit that line there.
and you gotta send those out.
I think I try to add up, if you took out, right now, we outsource the tax bill printing and mailing. The mail fees hit the postage line, I believe, and then the fee for the company to do the actual stuffing of envelopes and all of that for however long it takes them to do that. I think it was like $800 or $900 in total. It's not a cost of proposing that we take in-house, but I started to go down that road of like, okay, well, we don't have to send those out, you could eliminate that altogether. But I don't think, again, I don't
What
know
do you
a good
do,
place to do it.
what do you do, bring in poll workers and then fold envelopes and mail them and send them?
They're certified stamp liquor, so.
Day with a big box.
Yeah.
Find them and
Yep.
stamp.
Yeah.
It was like 3 full days of solid staff time just
Yeah.
doing
Yeah,
that,
yeah, that's the way, like, yeah,
you know.
send it out for $800, you tie the staff up for 2 days doing it, and get nothing else done, yeah. Paper cuts, yeah.
Notices, we're obligated to put notices in by way of ordinance and charter, though there's a state law proposal that would eliminate. The need to do postings in the newspapers. But I don't know
Yeah.
where that stands, we still have it in our ordinances and charter there.
How many reports are we down to printing now? 300 or so?
Oh, yeah, it was like.
Between 300 and 350. I can't remember what the exact, but it's right around 300.
So you
We
just
keep
cut it down
cutting it
and-
back and each
Cut it
time,
down to
depending on
200
how many
and
books
say
we
when they're
have
gone,
left
they're
over.
gone.
But the past 2 years, all the books have been
I
taken.
think they burned the town office down, Dan.
I don't know, some people truly look forward to collecting them.
They don't
Oh,
last.
really?
Like,
Like
doesn't make
stamps?
it- Yeah,
People come in specifically, Jimmy Hall used to collect them, he's got them
yeah,
forever.
It's online now too, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
all right,
okay.
yeah.
As far as revenues go, I kind of. Visualized it was kind of earmarked against this particular department, more or less with the clerk's fees, agent fees. Someone's coming, getting in vital records, births, death certificates, marriage licenses. All
Well, interest is always the one that, so.
the interest is the big one. So I don't think we talked before, it was excise tax and revenue sharing. I don't think I've talked. Since the initial presentations about how the board may or may not wanna view the income from the interest. Those previous years where it was bigger, there used to be 396 and 24 was actually part of 23, but it all hit in 24.
Yeah.
And I think all of 25 is the accurate number for that year.
Yeah.
But that's also not, Cheryl, correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't account for what needs to get journaled over for the interest earned, that's on the balance, and so in our cash balance of the bank, it includes the interest on the accounts.
Yes,
This number that we have printed here doesn't reflect what needs to be journaled to the
No,
reserve accounts, and
that's,
so you can cut that almost in
we've
half.
actually gotten.
Yeah,
Okay.
but 113 though is 6 months, though, right?
113, yeah, it would have been, I believe, 6 months.
Yep,
Okay.
Yeah.
And and I guess the other factor is interest rates and the outstanding balance for the year. Is it expected to be about the same next year?
I don't expect it to go up any higher,
And is the interest rate coming down a little?
a little bit,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen what it's projected for.
I don't know, what do you put? Yeah,
The good news is we're 100% of whatever that rate that it's tied to.
Yeah.
Just don't know what's gonna happen to it.
Mhm.
yeah. So, not that. So whoever the department is requested 120 or suggested 120 and you suggested 75, so if we split the difference and said 100, would that be outrageous?
75 sort of a bluebird, isn't it? I mean, that's pretty conservative, isn't it?
What,
It's conservative.
100?
No, 75.
Oh, it's definitely conservative. The question is, so are we trying to find something to try to?
I'll just remind folks too, that of the 113, if you get the 226, yeah, so I guess it'd be still, that if that doubled again, you'd still have just over 200. So the 100, we probably wouldn't recommend much more than that, not knowing where the rates will go, because again, half of these amounts on these lines, year dates. Or the actual previous years need to be journaled to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
reserve. and that's
yeah,
about
no,
half.
that makes sense, yeah.
So the 100 was probably about as high as you probably wanna go with where it's at today anyways.
Yeah,
I think we're at I'd say it's like 375 or something in that
Yeah, we're at
ballpark.
3.8 this
Three.
past month.
I know Tom probably looks at this too, but the Fed funds futures got pushed out for the next change, so that's. Which means they think rates are gonna stay a little higher for a little longer.
Good for us.
Well, it's just saying somebody else in
Yeah.
terms of what's going on and,
Well, based on what's
Somewhere
going
else.
on, it's likely not to go down for a while.
yeah. So,
Well, I suppose, anybody have any, I mean, as far as before the revenue on the admin side of it,
yeah,
it's,
So wait a minute, we're agreeing to 100,000? I wasn't sure.
I think, he's starting to go back to the expenses.
Okay.
yeah, I was just gonna, kind of in order there a little bit, we're looking at, yeah, the measure of 651,095, right? That's where it currently is at the 5.9% before revenue, revenue. I'll throw a motion out there. I think I'm at a loss of what to talk about there, so. I'll make a motion to, recommend, 651,000 and, 651,095 and no cents for admin operating. I hear a second, if not, we'll kill the motion, no, yeah.
No, I'll second that,
Second,
yeah, because, I mean, you could find 50 and 100 and $300, but
it doesn't, yeah.
It's anyway.
So Dan seconds, discussion, yeah, that's where, I think that's where I'll struggle going into. The good news is we have very responsibly run this municipality here, so it's not a lot of fluff in there. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, opposed, all right.
Is he
So-
on TV? Okay.
I haven't seen her come in yet, so, all right, so we'll move that, and then, yeah, we can do, let's do revenue right behind it if you guys want to. Right there, same page here, there we go. All right, and then, I suppose we just move revenue at the same number, right?
Unless you want to increase interest to 100.
I mean, I'm inclined to keep it. I don't know, so it's,
All I know is that.
plan for less and hope for more, but.
I'll add my context for whatever it's worth. So my little side balance of trying to keep track of
Mhm.
what we're trying to do to hit 5%.
Yeah,
We just lost 40,000 with the fire truck.
yeah, we did.
So, so we're
Yeah,
back
our
up.
fire truck didn't move us at all, it went off, so we netted Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I know we did.
So, so we're back up to 85,000.
You know, Dan, you don't have to point this out now. We can.
Well, I'm just, it's like keeping track of it. Running
I know,
commentary.
appreciate
You know, the
it.
guy up in the blue,
Yeah,
who's,
right.
who's just, you know.
Yeah, I know, same,
So-
hey, we found 40 and no, the fire truck needs the 40, so boom. Well,
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
whatever it's worth, so every 25,000 would be helpful. That's all I'm saying. And
it's,
as opposed to trying to take 1,000 here and 1,000 there.
oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I feel,
If-
and at least, I feel it's defensible at this point.
So we wanna add in,
With what's going on right now, the rates are gonna, they're not gonna drop for a while.
Right. Right. So that's what I would suggest.
okay, so you wanna add 25 to that
I do.
Second,
number, so what's that total gonna be? We gotta get the number in there, right? Oh, good, 651.
536. 175. No, that's the property tax.
Yeah, 676.95.
Yeah. I put the wrong- Yeah.
Say that again, Daryl,
Can you say
sorry.
the number again?
I did math right, so yeah, 676.095, right? Okay.
Yep.
So, all right, you wanna make that motion
So
then?
you'd be,
Is that, or how's that?
if I just clarify, I don't know that you really vote on the property tax necessarily.
No,
But the revenue, offsetting revenues, including the fund balance as it's written out there, I don't know if you wanna take fund balance now or wait until the end on that one, as a recommendation. As a whole, what if you were to take out
So.
oh, right.
taxes and the fund balance and just deal with the. Yeah, the revenue should be looking to raise 156,420 with the increase from proposed being the interest on the account.
Oh, yeah, we gotta take out, I get you, take
Yeah.
out the 511 and where's, which one's a, what's a fund balance right there, and 8,500, okay. Yeah, that's
You
right,
might wanna look at fund balance kind of towards the end there.
Right.
yeah, thank you, Andy, okay, so what do we have for, okay, Trev's that number,
Yeah, so 156,420 would be with the additional 25,000 would be what the other. Revenue
okay,
would be.
yeah, cause that offsets with taxes, cause we only need 651 total to, it's cover the budget, so that.
Yeah, put the taxes in there, just you can kind of see what it would look like, but.
Thank you, yeah,
You know, at the end of the day, it comes down to the mill rate calculation sheet.
yeah,
There's some other things that end up get put in there, but
It's-
at least gives you an idea
okay.
from where we're at this year, roughly what that amount is.
yeah, two fund balance, okay. All right, so the revised number, yeah, so Dan, if you want that one, I'll,
What was
so we got 156,420 is
Yeah, I'll make a recommendation to set the revenues for administration at 156,420.
second,
okay, Tom second, any discussion? All those in favor? Okay.
I got it, but I don't necessarily understand what you just did.
I'll let Andy fill you in later.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm changing the
So-
156,420.
So when I added it up originally, we have it totaled with a projection for taxes.
Yes,
We can't include that in there because we don't know what they're gonna be. And then the fund balance is gonna depend on,
so are you just changing the interest on account?
so we moved
Yeah.
just, yeah, we added,
So
Yeah.
why don't you just keep
Yeah.
that clean and make the motion, making the interest? It doesn't matter, I got 156,420.
yeah, that gives us a total on that.
Yeah, if it makes a
Yeah.
little more sense, and if you wanted to take like page 15 and 16. So, I mean, I did make the attempt to kind of show where there kind of were some offsetting revenues, we don't map it out that way for the
Yeah.
warrant.
Yeah.
So if it makes it cleaner and easier and you want, you could always, after you get to the expenses, go back and look at the revenues and make those motions in that table.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do it, we'd rather do that, folks, just, doesn't matter to me.
Well, it's certainly easier to see.
Yeah,
That way, yeah.
That was kind of what I was saying.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
isn't,
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, it's helpful in those departments there, you can talk about it as it's there, and then we can maybe
Yeah,
make a
okay,
note of
okay.
it.
Let's do that going forward then, it's fine, yes, so we did remove this one, but we'll change it up on the fly here, all right. Assessing. No, it's fine. Don't mind if you ask questions. Oh, so, all right, so now we're assessing department and, right now we have. Between the two, request and proposal,
Yeah, most of the difference there is really just more time
Yeah, you have a-
9130.
Sorry, go ahead.
31,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did propose, and not propose like we should seriously consider it, but just if anyone was curious, if you were to put in a part-time position at 20 hours a week, with an asterisk and some additional amount for consultant fees for legal consult, throughout the year, because we don't have to pay, I mean, that's all built in, the company we have is well versed in this stuff.
Yeah.
And have many staff to be able to bounce stuff on. But it was just to provide you, kind of an alternative.
Get some context
It's
there.
about $4,000 difference. You own a little more liability in work. And that doesn't provide a backup. You just get 20 hours a week. Right now, we're getting, I think, eight hours a week in the office. Most weeks, with the day allowance there for days for spring work, and then, they gotta make sure there was room in there for the personal property, chasing that stuff down.
okay, and that's the 49.
That's the 49. I mean, you can see I mean, the price goes up a little bit each year, but historically, we haven't been hitting the days I put in there, whether it's a snow day or something comes up, they're not here every week. Sometimes it's less spring work than I can anticipate. So I mean, if there's a need to try and pull a few days back, I mean, you see, I put an estimated at 65 days there.
Mhm.
And so if you had 52, no, it's a few holidays in there they aren't gonna come for. You can call it 50 weeks, and then you need some spring work, and so I wouldn't probably go less than 55 days. But if you did 60 days, you cut 5 out of there, that's what, 3,600 bucks. Potentially.
So when I look at the year to date being less than 10,
Mhm.
it's just that it's all backloaded into the spring.
There's some backload. I mean, I think about a week I figure for spring work. All depends on the permits and what wasn't finished from the year before. They go out and check on the permit list issued and see how progress is going on those properties where construction was happening. They bill pretty regularly, but through December, amount wouldn't have included the January, wouldn't have included the December time yet.
Mhm.
That would have gotten
Yep,
in there.
and she's billing me pretty much.
Okay,
weekly.
she does.
Yep.
So sometimes we weren't getting them to like mid or towards the later of the next month, but if
They're
they're.
much more frequent now, but his
Okay.
father was playing in that office for a little while. That's no longer happening.
Gotcha. So yeah, that's pretty close into the 6 month, for the first part of the year. There's a little extra work in the summer around commitment that they have to deal with, and then through this period, I think it's into January that people have the ability to submit for the abatements and supplementals that challenge the bill. But then there's kind of this. Right now, they're getting ready to send personal property declarations out. By the time those get back, they're gonna be up against the April 1 and starting to think about spring work. So there's just kind of those chunks of throughout the year where there's things happening, but relatively equal split with the exception of about 3 days extra in the spring.
So over 20 to 25, is it the dollar amount per day or the number of days that are the bigger factor in the increase?
I mean, it's a combo of both. I don't know which one's the bigger share of region. I think I added 5 more days from last year.
The time, where you have. In the 49,725 or estimated 65 days, I mean, it's not like if you reduce it to 55 days or whatever, like. The workload doesn't change, right? That just pushes it
No, I
back.
just think there's probably a little more that could be getting done. I mean, we sent all the personal property out, but they didn't track down all the ones that came back undelivered.
Yeah.
Responded to. Some just didn't make it to the addresses we had. Some of them never got returned to us, but by the post office, but weren't returned to us by the owners either.
But you
so
could, you could in theory,
More work than you did in 2025 for that reason.
That's the hope.
if you, well, that's all again, if you reduce the number, of days to shave off 3 or 4 grand. You're gonna be following up the year after. At a higher rate anyway, right, as the contract increases or goes up.
So it'd be 38.25 if you went down to 60 days, and that affords them about 15 extra work days still a year. You throw the holiday factor in there. I think
When's that contract, do you remember?
annual
It's annual,
at
right?
this point.
Yeah. So I just had, if you shave off 5-6 days this year and put it on to. Next year. You've got. 3, 4, 5% increase in the contract.
Mhm.
So I was like, do you actually save 4,000 this year, or do you pay 8,000 extra
Right.
next year? Yeah, Cause the workload doesn't change, yeah,
It doesn't, but I mean, they just don't
They just haven't
end
done
up
that
coming
much.
the number of days
Days.
anyway.
they've been doing it.
So, do I hear you suggesting that we could take like 5,000 off of that and be comfortable with it?
Yeah, I mean, 5 days would be 38.25. So if you wanna do a few more days, you certainly could, I think we'd probably be fine.
Okay,
I know there's
That's
more
what
work
we
that
hear,
we've
yeah.
gotten to that we'd like to see done.
yeah, but you really talked, I mean, if the actual was 34, and this year they're only at 10, so they might get to 35 again this year, maybe. Right? Okay. So you want a recommendation?
So that would be a reduction, yeah, if we looked at that line item, 9131, and took the 3825 out of there. That would put, the manager's proposal at, 48,400, right?
I don't
Have to-
think so.
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah, if you took out the 38.
52,225 is your proposal.
Mhm.
Yeah. Then move the 3,800 out of there.
38 out of the 49.
No,
What are you
yeah,
talking
well,
about?
out of, I just took it out of the total, we've got
Oh,
52,225 is.
oh, I see, I see.
The manager's proposal
Okay,
here, yeah.
Okay, I was with Dan there.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, no, I got you, I was taking out the total.
Yep.
We pull 48, sorry, 3825 out of there is 48,4, so, okay.
That's fine.
I'll make a motion to recommend $48,400, for the, assessing department's operating budget, so reducing the 9131 line item by 3825. So we know where that came from. Okay,
go ahead, Dan.
are you good with that?
Yep.
All
Good.
right. Let's move off, let's skip revenue. Yeah.
Can you vote?
Oh,
I was
That's
gonna
the
say,
vote.
I
Oh,
guess-
jeez.
Yeah.
Getting ahead of myself, we're just moving along here, so.
Get out of here.
I made a motion,
I'll second this.
Dan seconded it.
I'm already seconded.
No,
Don't
I
second
was
it.
telling him to second it, cause
He
he.
didn't want anything to do with it. so-
No, it was his suggestion.
All right, fine.
Who do you want to second? Do we have Tom or Dan?
Yeah.
All right, Dan seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Look, it's early. It's supposed to be, it's 5:30, it's 4 o'clock on throw me off, so.
Yeah.
All right, so that is moved. Okay, let's skip revenue. Planning department, page 30 out of 108. All right. I think miscellaneous expenses 0.
Yeah, about a third of the increase there, for the years on line 1338, page 31.
On software.
Software. We are gonna attempt to get a county ask grant completed, which we're hopeful would cover the implementation cost for the GIS. Leaving us about 3 to 3,500, for the maintenance, annual maintenance cost, if we can get them to split it. Sometimes the companies will do that for us, not make us have access basically until a new fiscal year when we can pay it, but we can at least get the implementation part started and paid for. If we can get the grant. So maybe it's a combination of, thinking about whether we invest in the civic engagement software, if you're looking for a place, and then if we get the grant, proceed. If we don't get the grant, then we can still, don't assume we're gonna get the grant, but if we get the grant, then we could put the money towards that $4,000 towards the software. So if you lowered it by $3,000, I think that would still split the difference on that line
Okay,
and give us the flexibility. If the grant comes in, we could do both. If it doesn't come in, we just do one.
push it.
Okay.
All right,
That's what I had on there for no 3,000.
yeah, make a motion to
12.
reduce the computer software budget line to 12,925.
Okay.
I'll second.
0 seconds, any discussion?
No.
All those in favor? Okay, so, yeah, so Tom's reduced that one through a motion and then we can. All right, good. Is there anything else on there that's jumping out before we look at the total?
Yeah, I mean, again, another $6,000 on the insurance line. Of the about 30,000 that was there, so a good chunk of it there.
Insurance. Yeah, on health insurance, I'm about 40.
Yeah,
Yeah, a good 13 to. 14,000 actual in 2025 and 18, yeah.
Otherwise, the rest of it, I didn't see anything else that really jumped out that was obvious to me, the last line, planning consultant there on page 34, we are attempting to carry an amount that would afford additional capacity to assist with. One of the big changes there is the site plan review cost. We're gonna potentially need to continue that for another year. Until the ordinances get updated to a point where it lessens some of that review time needed.
Yeah,
So is it? My question when I went through it, and maybe it's not even the right question, but is site plan reviews are for like people that come in with a project and isn't that chargeable to the person?
It is through the fee schedule.
So it's reimbursable, so that same amount is on the revenue side?
Probably not quite the same. It requires a change in the fee schedule. What do we have?
Yeah,
Development
planning and
fees.
development fees, yeah.
Historically, four grand, $1,000, 3,200, 2,000, so it definitely could warrant, it's under review now anyways, but. When that comes to the select board.
But that's a
we'll look at that.
legitimate reimbursable cost, or cost that can be charged to the
It
people that
is.
are doing the
It
project.
should cover cost at least, so yeah, I would say yeah, it doesn't, or it doesn't right now, but it's in the fee schedule where you should get to a point where it's covering the cost.
Yeah,
It should, I know some towns look at, we don't have the ability to analyze it this way yet, but some. Do look at the costs, not saying it shouldn't be this way, but we'll look at the costs for a project and then. You can run your fee schedule in a way that it incentivizes and lowers the pre-development costs, permit costs for certain projects. Make other ones a little bit higher, just do across the board, it's all the same, you're gonna pay the cost regardless. But I think sometimes places are trying to find ways of the development that they want to encourage. Are finding ways to try and make sure it's easy for it to happen. Just think about that as we get closer to when the fee schedule comes out, but it is definitely one that if we have a direct cost, we could. Do it, the hope is that it wouldn't go more than FY 27. That extra cost. That would still be site plan review and we still want to cover it, but this is kind of a bit of a bubble for contracting that out.
okay. So not to get ahead, but would we look at the fee schedule then, this time? If we manage to get that done before the start of the new fiscal year, then it's possible that the revenue side of this could be higher. But that's really subject to us getting.
Yeah,
the fee
yeah,
schedule
right.
reviewed and.
Yeah, this cost only comes in, we paid for the year in advance, next fiscal year, we'll do it as it goes probably. Yeah, I mean, if the person, the company, MCOG has someone go through the review and it's okay, here's the bill for it, then. Just pass can get cost, or
Yeah.
cost can get passed.
Yeah.
But the internal fees are subject to, the fee schedule review and depends on,
Doesn't stop the expense, but it's a good note for when you get to the revenue side to remember to talk about adjusting that.
Okay. It's the next page, so.
So right now we have, so Tom made a motion on, to reduce 1338 to, 12,925, so that puts us. Right now, $3,000 less than the manager's proposal of 228,990 to 225,990. Unless there's anything else in there that on the offering anybody sees, I mean. Don't see really much. Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to recommend total of 225,990 for the planning and development department. Second. Darryl seconds, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Okay. Did it right that time. Okay. Skip revenue. We did solid waste, right? Yep. Yeah, that one we can't do much about it. Oh, wait,
Page 59.
you think? I was almost there, yeah, to get through the solid waste stuff.
I did include a lot on that.
Yeah. So we're, yeah, municipal building. All right, we don't need heat or AC, right? Sure.
I'm over here freezing, sitting on my.
Click in your pen. Try it there. Okay, and
Am I well?
okay. So, yeah, the two proposals, 127 and 117, there's some significant jumps there
Yeah,
year over year.
the biggest change is the expense of the EV chargers.
EV charge, yeah, you're putting those in municipal, yeah.
Which, yeah, I think it makes sense unless we want to create another account for us separate, but we had the EV chargers in there before, and so I just made an assumption we might do it there, but we might run it as a special
And I
revenue.
think the restroom is hooked onto that, so it's all, it should just be all the same line.
Yeah.
What it was, now they're two separate CMP accounts.
All right, they may come in this month and then like that.
But I figured for the sake of where it was before, we'd always change it later, but for the sake of the presentation, I did include it in this building account. But there is a direct offset. Right, with the revenues is the projection, hopefully,
Yeah.
and that's positive for us even, but I'm projecting it to be a cost neutral for this first year.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
be a safe projection.
other than that, assuming an increase on the cleaning fees, which is a big, portion of this expense for this account. Line 1834.
Yeah, the bathroom, right, that's restroom municipal, yeah. So,
Yeah, between the bathroom and the
Yeah.
Town office building,
yeah,
that's 45. 47 grand.
the building, the shared maintenance at 1836 on 60, 7,000 there, that's percentage based, right, that's a.
Yeah, we're 22%, I think, based on square footage of the two buildings.
Yeah.
And we were accounting for about 22%, I believe is what the number was.
Yeah, that's a hard one to be, yeah, I know you took like a 3-year average on it, but. Yeah.
Yeah, we did, I did talk to Bob about the possibility of, I think this was the final year on the plow contract and casually had talked about, you'd kind of ask like, will the town want to do that? As work towards essentially work off talk to John about it and see if it's something we can manage to do, because it's different to tackle that than it is this side of the property. Because if it's snowstorm and we're closed, they're not coming, but those offices might still be open and need to be plowed still, and they require us to probably put the sander back in the truck and actually spread sand, not with just the whacker. So it's not complicated, it's just a matter of whether we feel we could potentially do that or not. That I know in 1 year, that might have been that year was 10 grand, was a pretty big chunk of that was the plow cost. And so,
Yeah.
then we pay for, I think we pay for the share of the mowing, do you remember? Yeah.
The mowing, the lights,
Lights.
and then a 15% admin fee for them to bill us.
Yeah. Yeah, lights and plowing, I appreciate them. Always a little odd for us, but to pay for our share of that.
So, yeah, other than that, yeah, just adding the EV chargers in for
Take the mowing on and the plowing.
their cost. Yeah. What's that?
I'd rather see us take the mowing on the plowing if there was a discussion about it.
Do we have?
Oh, yeah.
Do we have more?
Yeah.
Yeah, cause they mow these,
It's a lot easier to deal with the cutting the grass. than it is to-
Yeah.
no.
Here.
oh, they mow for us.
Well, half the land's taken up by a pumpkin anyway, so you don't know that.
I mean, they don't have mowing out. It's just a piece behind the parking lot here and then the strip out front, yeah. It's about all there is, and so. Unless it's also including like actual tending to mulch and that kind of stuff, but again, that's not that burdensome really. So there might be some ways to talk with them going forward about some of that shared cost there, but.
The cleaning, like the restroom cleaning, that wasn't contracted, right? That's a, Or was that contracting, if we
Not
contracted?
really a formal contract per se. It was
Yeah.
very hard to find someone to do janitorial.
That's how I remember it. It's not like we didn't go
We
out.
called a few folks.
Yeah.
I think the budget committee asked that the select board do the cleaning.
Yeah.
And what, no, we can have a rotating, yeah, that's much, give me the same thing. Yeah, if I remember right, cause and we didn't RFP it, cause there's a handful of places you have to be within a certain, I mean, it's daily, so that's a tough one, yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I've heard good things with the workmanship of the folks that are doing it now. And
I haven't heard any complaints, yeah.
yeah, they are doing it daily, which is great, because before I think we were only doing it 5 out of the 7 days a week, and so the weekends got a little
Yeah,
tough. People were buying their own toilet paper to go in there and use it on the weekend.
yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, it was,
Vending machine outside.
the highway crew was doing it first thing in the morning.
Try to overstock it on Friday morning.
Yeah, if anything happened, yeah, I wasn't really.
Been known
Like
to
down back there. It's amazing how much stuff we talk about gets in the gutter here, so. Oh, okay.
I'm not sensing a lot here.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that really would be up for discussion, I would think, on this really is gonna be, the length of time in which the bathrooms are open.
Yeah.
To which we've had, in the past few years, we've had a couple of folks inquire about year round, and some saying, can you take it till December?
Yeah,
Through December for the holiday, shopping experience.
yeah, the 32,000 right now reflects, what are we, Columbus, no, I'm sorry, where are we at?
End of
now?
November,
End of
to the parade, the festival.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll be opening up again here, shooting for April.
yeah, that's right, April
Before we
1st.
put the docks out, so we'll have them open more.
I think that, at some point,
Let's
let's,
move on before it goes up.
probably can have that, let's, yeah.
So I'll make a recommendation. Right, make a motion for the municipal building at 117,430.
Yeah, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Okay. There. Okay. Contingency. Did that.
We did that.
We did that already, didn't we? Yeah,
63 insurance.
yeah. We did contingency, we did legal. Yeah, insurances. Yeah. Okay. So we have. Oops, VAs are. 20,675.
So most of the numbers are right on, I mean, they're factual, right?
Yeah, are these mostly set calendar year?
Yep,
Yeah.
these are all from MMA.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see a lot of.
That's
I mean, unless you want to be at the 5 to 7 and 6 to 6.
I saved $1 on it.
Okay. I'll make a motion to recommend 20,000, sorry, what is it? Yeah.
Yes,
20,675, for insurances, Department 8.
I'll second.
Yeah, all right, thank you, Daryl. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, yeah, it's not a lot we can do there. Yeah. And cut out liability.
Yes.
Yeah, we did GA. Okay, so that puts us in PD.
Well, here,
Well, you know, good, Tom?
yeah.
I rounded it to the nearest. Go around it to the nearest dollar.
You don't even have spent it for $4 if you can just add it to the nearest dollar. You put printing color.
Yes, sure.
Save on name. Right, 77.
Page 77.
77. 108. Okay. Let's see, lots of stuff in this one. So we skip to the end here and we'll get back to the. So the department request right now is at 994.6. And the managing proposal is at 977, 725. The big difference there is seasonal parking, yeah, the 15,680 parking, so around 96.7, but. Okay, those are the numbers anyway. All right.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the increases, you're up, in this current year. 70 grand on my proposal,
Mhm.
and of that. 45,000 is health insurance,
Yeah.
79. Majority of it, and then I imagine wages is a good chunk of the rest.
Yeah, the chief and
Overtime down ever so slightly,
Well, I will try and go down once our last recruit gets to the academy.
it's the expectation as long as you keep folks. Yeah, not needing to go to the academy, that's been the big one, but the last few years, we've had just personnel changes and the time it takes to fill the positions, and then. Two needing to go to the academy, there's a lot of backfilling, then you bring someone on who needs to go, even if they have gone through the academy, they still have a period of time they need to go through an FTO program.
FTO, yeah.
So you're backfilling that open spot until they're done with that. That's however long it took to find them to fill the spot.
Yeah.
So, yes, so once they're, yeah, the ideal point is once everybody's field trained and blue penned, then, you know. Yes, all the shifts are covered and except for vacation time and stuff that you should see a reduction.
It's not as obvious in other departments when there are staff changes, with PD, it's so. Strict in terms of like what they need reasonably, there's so many things, so much policy in there, there's probably 70 policies, I think they have, operating policies. They have to go through and kind of prove they know, and, the FTO program for us is ballparking about 12 weeks. Where they're riding with the sergeant, combination of direct and then. Same shift, but separate cars, so they know they can kind of start to go on their own. You know, we don't quite have it set up, the need to have it set up that way for other departments, really, when there's staff changes, it takes a toll on staff, because someone's got to train them, so their work takes a hit, but. Not to the scale at which the PD has to go through, so it's really, really obvious when there are these changes, and so.
Yeah.
If not for that, and see in the previous years there in 23 and 24 before we started to get that back in the. Mid-30 range, so not quite half, but. It should take a pretty, I mean, you can see, I tried to bold with some of those. The academy shift coverage and stuff backfilling. Again, this is assuming that, we're always trying to hit 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that shift. That person had for the week. Backfilling that's about 15 grand. The overtime they have while they're at the academy, it's another 7 grand. They don't just strictly work 40 hours while they're there. The rest of it there presumably we would have in the contract that they have the opportunity to buy out the floating holidays, if they don't use them. And then the rest of it's pretty minor. I mean, the snowstorm, someone will stay late or come in early on snowstorm days, so in case something happens, they're already in. The court pay, we can't control. They have to show up on computer. It's been less, and there's Zoom options mostly now, so it makes it a little bit easier.
That's helpful.
But yeah, the academy driven stuff is pretty substantial. I think when the academy calculates it, there's a law that. If we put someone through the academy and they go to another agency, that receiving agency has to compensate us, and this academy will determine what that value is for year one, and then for every 5 years, or every year, it comes down another 20%. So I think this year is pushing 50 grand roughly, 48, 50 grand is what the number is right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So,
yeah, at least it's good to have that in place, and that's not
So-
bad, it's,
The police chief made a pitch for the seasonal parking enforcement.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not super fair with him, he came right on, this was being printed basically, but I did talk to him about it, and he said, well, we've had it in the past, and quick reaction was, well, things blow up in the summer.
Yeah.
Balloon in the
Yeah.
summer, with more people, maybe there's value in doing this, there's obviously an ordinance that talks about it, so
Right,
for discussion's sake, we did put it in there. In his.
okay, so he's okay with it now?
No, I think he'd still appreciate having it,
yeah,
I
think he wants it, but yeah.
otherwise it's not really getting enforced, or it's only getting done when one officer we have on a shift. slides down. and
Yeah,
comes through.
yeah, but
Versus dedicated.
he knows that it's not going to be in there at this point, right?
He knows it's on table for discussion at at whatever length, yeah.
Yeah, it all depends on recommendations, Tom, yeah.
He's hopeful,
Right.
but
It's, yeah.
I mean, overall, how did the summer go last year?
I think like,
I didn't think it was, I mean, by
No
what I
revenue,
heard.
I mean, to speak.
yeah, I mean, I think.
I mean, the EV chargers are new additional pieces.
You want my anecdotal evidence?
So I'd love to have your anecdotal evidence.
So here's my thoughts on it. I think we need the position again. I don't think we can afford it right now. And I think that number is low, the 15,000. I think that to get somebody in for a summer to do that and pay them well, I think you'd be pushing 18 to 20. Get somebody in. I don't think we can do it right now until we get a year worth of like EV charger stuff coming in, see where revenue is and things like that. So no, it's what happens is without having that deterrent down there is boater parking becomes a mess.
But like a boater parking isn't a 2 hour check. A boater parking is a pull through.
Yeah. So with boater parking, what happens if somebody, somebody parks there? It's right, it's not a check, but somebody can park in, pull in, whatever, take up that spot. But you don't have, PD can be out on a call, in 2 hours somewhere in the boater park. So we have parking ordinances, I'll say it on camera, they're moot. Till you enforce them. You can enforce someone with an officer around, but it makes it more difficult. But I think it's a position that at some point we need to relook, but I don't know if this year is the right year for it. I'd love to be able to put it in there, but an extra 18, 20,000 would be. That's a stretch.
Yeah, local businesses want to sponsor this.
I tell you
We can
that,
name it, the.
yeah, no, that's a good.
The right parking enforcement officer or something.
That's a great question, because because with the proponents of it are mainly going to be, businesses downtown and
Sure.
hope that they park there.
Yeah.
It will not pay for, I think we brought this to the budget committee meeting, it's not gonna pay for itself in tickets, it just doesn't,
No.
they can't, it doesn't, it's a.
We don't have a way to collect.
I'm going to collect them, and the few that we have, the ordinance ones that we have aren't enough to cover a $15,000 to $20,000 budget, so it's more or less keeping things flowing. The impression we got, and really the last two that were down there, they were really good, the two young ladies that were there. They were, proactive, I'd turn and what, she'd always be I think it was Laura last year or so, the year before. She'd always be my vision. I turned like, how did you were just that way. And I looked over here and down. So they did a great job and coming on, keeping things moving and stuff. And so there is and especially with like the EV chargers being busy, but I think there's a need for it, but I just don't know where the funding's gonna come from right now. So I need to go another year without it, but yeah. So if we get, maybe get somebody to volunteer. It's like a sponsored. You get a jacket with you get the sponsors on there.
She has gotten a couple, at least one name, if not two names from, I don't know if it was Jake or someone at Lincoln Academy. Or no, I think it was the school resource officer shared a couple of names of folks kids that have been asking. And so there's at least a little bit of interest, from folks.
Yeah.
Just kind of waiting to see how this process will play out, before
It's
engaging that. But it's good to know that there was, at least for this year, some interest.
It's a great position for, somebody starting to look into law enforcement and starting in and kind of testing the waters and the same.
And that's where I think that hourly isn't out of bounds for a kid. I mean,
Yeah,
look
I
at some of the
think you-
landscaping jobs, they're not making $17 an hour. If they are, that's a high pay for a kid.
Yeah,
For
I
a
think
summer job.
I think you'd be closer to like the 18 range, 18, 19 right now for that, The amount of, McDonald's right now, you can start at $18 an hour.
Yeah, I mean, my kid was working sweating landscaping last summer for 17.
The interactions with the general public too are not all positive, so the folks down there are, by far, most of it's positive, I will say most of it. The negative ones, it's just like police work, the ones that are negative are.
Pays and tolls and stores.
They're so it's in the ballpark, but I would think more like the 18 range, but but I'm not proposing a number on that right now, because I just don't know if we can.
Sun's
sneak
on
it in
some
there.
peak now.
Yeah.
There's another training cost.
Right, now you need to be certified for that, Tom, you have to put the training line up, so, yeah, so,
It's a Carey State.
yeah. I mean, I try to keep traffic flowing down there best I can, but it's not.
So really, that's the only item we're looking at, this shit,
Yeah.
this at all, right?
Yeah, it wasn't funded this current fiscal year, and that's the
Yeah.
biggest difference between his and mine,
Yeah.
Chief's and mine is that particular one.
Yeah, I think it's something that has to be revisited and maybe going into the year here with the chief and seeing how the summer goes and looking at,
And what his assessment is.
yeah, or even looking at allocation officers, maybe it's a little better time management or something, I don't know. But the answer is to that, but, or we look at specific I mean, as it is right now, it's without very expensive equipment, the hourly, you can't chop tires anymore, so you have to do, so it's like boater parks, it's violation, boater parking, handicap parking out of the lines, I mean, that's really what the only thing that you can do.
People parking.
Well, in EV, right, so there's very specific things you can, the time parking is kind of moved. It's gonna be specific things, somebody parked sideways, taking up 3 or 4 spots.
Voter
Yeah.
misparked.
Voter, yeah, probably voters,
Yeah, the biggest.
Yeah, so you could do, I mean, it's up, I'm not talking to the chief, but you could have, if not available, drive through, check it over, same thing like Elm Street, places like that, I mean, it's the same thing, you park off Elm Street or any of the parking spots, you're out of the spot, you're allowed for it, so, but. So there's probably a workaround for it right now anyway, but, yeah. Okay. And then, yeah, I think, did everybody get a chance, like on the overtime right now, is that, the answers, yeah, we get, I know there's some questions on that, and you have some questions, everything at 54 is.
Yeah, it has to do with the academy.
Where it is, yeah.
primarily At this point,
Yeah,
so.
so I think that's pretty solid, so. Okay. Very well. I'll throw it out there, I'll, make it, what's that? I'll make a motion to recommend the, police department operating budget at, 977, 725. And somebody wants a second, they can, if nobody wants to, we'll just go with motions, so.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'll go second,
Well,
discussion, yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, we're gonna have a police department, so.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so, all right.
For next year anyways.
Yes, all right. All right, hearing no more discussion, I'll call for vote, all those in favor? What, did I see all hands or?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know, so, all right, so we're at, yeah. 77, 725. Okay. I should, animal control, ACO.
They were planning on picking up more dogs this year.
Where have you did that one?
Yeah, I thought we did that
did?
one already.
Yeah,
Yeah, you jumped down a highway
Oh, we did, yeah, sorry, yeah, don't mind me,
page 97.
yeah, we did ACO, we did that, we just got to do, yeah, that's right,
We gotta go to the highway department?
yeah,
Mhm.
man, I wanted to revisit ACO.
Okay.
If you wanted.
I'll make you happy, let's talk about it.
No.
Yes, that's
Everything
good.
is down here, so, highway, all right, on the pumpkin, there we go. All right, 97,018. Thank you for keeping me on track here. And we're almost, boy, we're getting, yeah, cemetery. All right. Highway department, if they've got nothing to do, this ought to be an easy one.
Yeah, first page, increase in the leased equipment line, the difference, really big difference there is, when they're doing the ditch work, we rented the mobile traffic lights last year and.
Yes, yeah,
It really helps us, we don't have to bring in anyone else to try and flag, which you have to hire a company to come in and do. A little pricey to have them, but they can tow them around, set them up, and it seems to work pretty well, this past year for them.
yeah, that's either way is necessary. You're doing road work, you gotta have somebody flagging or something there.
A lot
Yeah,
easier sometimes to get the traffic lights on your schedule than it is to
Yeah.
hope there's a third party flagging crew
available.
available when you want to rent.
Yeah, and the one-way road signs don't always cut it, especially if you don't have any traffic direction, it's like, there's a whole bunch of liability there. Whew. Okay, so that's the increase.
Other than that, another small increase on the highway traffic signs. We just have a lot that are
2948.
2948, yeah, page 98. They don't. We have a lot that just don't, we've had a while, don't have the reflectivity, so like we can't do any night work in theory without the reflectivity ones. Some of them are just worn and just need to be replaced. We need to add a few more. Seems every year we've got to close a section of sidewalk down. It'd be nice to have sidewalk closed, whether it's for falling ice or in the summertime for something that happens that we gotta close a section down for.
Sure.
So just trying to catch up on getting some of those replaced, the increase on that. Anticipating a minor decrease in the maintenance, if we're able to proceed with replacing the truck. The department column, you'll see there's higher, only in the sense that if we don't replace the truck, we should assume to see some continuing growing costs.
What line are you on?
That was 3024.
So if we don't replace the truck, we're not looking at 10,000. Is that what you're saying, or you think it'll be decreased from 10?
I think if you replace the truck, it would go from 11.5 to 10.
Okay.
But if we don't, it's the 18.5. so-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have,
Yeah.
right, yeah,
And you don't have it for half the year.
we haven't, yeah, we've been without it for quite a bit this year.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
One of the big decreases in this one has been the health insurance line in the sense that both the employees currently take the buyout option.
Yeah.
Is that a hiring strategy going forward?
I mean, for some people it is.
No, I'm just
when they're-
joking.
Yeah.
Don't quote me anymore.
I mean,
Oh, you're on. It's going right.
I mean, it's not our strategy, but
Yeah,
for someone
no.
looking to come and work for us, it is certainly part of their
Sure.
consideration when we
Yeah.
offer.
Oh, of course, yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's,
But you can see there that this is what we budgeted this year and
Yeah.
what it's going for next year. That's the difference if
Yeah.
someone has
Yeah.
independent coverage
Yeah.
like needed.
Yes, amazing with internal insurance was
Staggering
staggering.
a quarter of what they're otherwise entitled to for the premium.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, it definitely is in our favor.
Yeah.
Let's see, compensation.
Yeah, increase on general maintenance, 5253. It's doubling it. Anyone who's been walking around town, I anticipate there's gonna be a fair amount of work needed.
Yeah, there's a lot
In particular, but also we're trying to do more ditch work. So that'll afford us the ability to do some of that stabilization that we need to do. This year we were at $6,900, a good chunk of that was hydro seeding. For the, was it mile and a half, I think they did standpipe in Back Meadow.
Mhm.
That was the big one, then we rolled jute mat out of Westview contractor.
Bench table replacement, with the, new spot down at the park, did we put a ADA?
They did,
Table in?
we bought a picnic table and then I think they swapped the boards out on the top.
Just longer, yeah, okay.
Longer boards.
Okay, I couldn't remember, if I knew we talked about it.
Yeah,
If we put an
I think they put,
yeah,
instead of 8 foot, I think they put, it must have put 10 footers on there.
yeah, okay, so that's some question I have there, I just, nobody talked about it, but. Yeah. Could I have it for- Striping.
Yeah, the striping, when we bought the machine, the new machine there, we're gonna attempt to do all that in-house. Again, part of that's the sign, getting the sign to be able to do the night work. Try to piggyback that and get one of the officers, either to stay a little bit later, come in a little bit earlier on a couple of those days when we're working in Main Street.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's never not traffic going through there. Sometimes there's some lingering pool,
Mhm.
people that drive through in the middle of the night.
Much more manageable.
But if you don't get that
Yeah.
work done by, I'd say 5 at the latest, you're on Main Street, you're gonna be needing the officer's lights.
Yeah. Yeah,
Starts
so
picking
picking
up.
up, so.
So some savings there by doing it in-house. I mean, John, I remember last year, he said, for the price it cost us to contract out the striping last year, we could have bought 3 machines. So we had to buy paint, but, certainly a different
Yeah.
cost there.
Well, yeah, it just comes down to, at times, if we have manpower, yeah, and if we have, right now, we have manpower and capable manpower, then it's doable,
Yep.
so.
Yeah, they felt confident they'd be willing to do it for us, which was great.
Yeah.
Will that be putting them in overtime with the night work, or is that something they'll manage?
They can shift some of that, just to shift the week, because you don't really want to get into they'll make a better part of a night out of it for probably 3 or 4 nights, so probably just shift more
Yeah.
work week. Let them recover on the 3-day weekend.
Yeah, move it around.
Then we can pick around a little bit of days if we need to here and there. They can start earlier, they can come in at like 2 AM and then get out earlier. But yeah, we've been able to kind of work around that. We are probably gonna play with some paint just to see, because there's different types of paint we can get out on the surface there to see if some will last longer than others. The stuff we tend to buy, I think, is in like the $200 to $300 a 5-gallon range. But there's some other products out there that claim to last longer, that'll be pushing $450 to $500 for 5 gallons. But if it lasts through the winter,
You don't do it twice.
it might be nice to
I
have.
haven't seen the pain last through plowing winter.
Yeah, there's some that claim it will, so it might be worth trying for a little bit extra, maybe not all of them, but we can maybe.
Try it.
Do a test run.
On Main Street, okay,
Maybe
these two will
test
be
on
this
one.
type, these two will be that type, and kind of see how they hold out in that same stretch.
Yeah.
So, we should be able to work within that though, but we might try a couple of different types. Yeah, otherwise.
You've got a proposed stipend in there for, road commissioner.
Yep. Not my stipend. It'd be for someone else to do that.
We tried that.
So the downtown plowing, there's a note about snow hauling.
Where to put it?
Is that
15,000,
You're on.
9124.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's just gonna be written down to you, Dan, because we're just.
Yeah, that'd be great. Oh, I.
Dan, you saved us 15,000, thank you.
Sure, you're gonna have two slopes there, you know, on both sides. Yeah.
Oh,
Need a chairlift for, you know.
Yeah, I think the third year, the price for hauling snow was $600 an hour. 6 or $650 an hour. And so this will afford us some, I mean, and I think we did
It's
that
fine.
twice or 3 times this year, and they're about, when they have to pile on Theater Street, it takes about 3 to 4 hours to clean up. Depending what time of day it is and how much was piled.
Yeah.
But at $600 an hour, it doesn't take long.
No.
One clearing is a pretty good chunk of money involved.
Yes.
This year, again, we've been lucky, I think there was only 3. But it doesn't account for, you know, if it's outside the contract bounds and we need corners and stuff cleared out. Well, the first year they charged us for some of those. One of those things to remember for the next contract, I think, is under certain places, you know, piling over intersections going down through the roadways and, you know, in some regard is kind of part of the work. The downtown ones is different, given our limitations, but they've been able to work, I think, a lot more of it through the parking lot than they did the first year with some changes of equipment. Otherwise, yeah, we aren't budgeting for that, and it's a piece that's had to be utilized since we lost the spot on the bridge.
right, yeah. Yeah, it's gotta go somewhere.
Keep Theater Street closed, I guess, until balance if we need to. Wouldn't be very popular.
No.
And everybody's.
Just close theater.
No, I was just trying to read him like, I'm thinking serious.
I'm not raising my hand.
You know, wait a minute, let's hash this out though. You leave the snow in Theater Street and you do a winter event, you can have, you have a sledding hill now, you can have movies at the, you can make an event out of this.
Eliminate some of the cut through traffic.
Parks and Rec Department, you got some revenue there. Oh,
I'm still not raising my hand.
great, all right, so we're looking at,
Big number.
yeah, 831, 270 was the management proposal, which is 1.67 increase.
Yeah, it's a little misleading, given there's about, what, 35,000 that could swing next year potentially if both workers end up with different insurance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little misleading if you were to add that in there, if that were to change, so that's, you know, again, another reason why the payroll liability reserve is helpful in a given year. You don't have to carry that 35,000 extra right now.
Yeah, you can pull it out there.
You still have the ability to make it up the following year, but.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah, you're not stuck with, yeah, you got some reserve there, so.
Not that we can't put it to use, but if they don't spend it.
Yes. All right. See anything, any other comments, questions, anything jumping out?
Trying real hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is another department, much like the capital, you know, you could look at roadside mowing and catch basin cleaning, and you could just,
Mhm.
the operating stuff that needs to get done, I mean, it's, you could. You could budget this high as you wanted to, you know, or just, you're limited on. You know, tree work at 7,500, I mean, you could put $30,000 in there for tree work and you use it all up, we're just limiting what can be done in a year.
Right.
Really, with the recommendation, so. Or with the time they have, you know.
And we do intend to still, seems like we're still able to keep getting the pump out float grant.
Yeah.
That's an offsetting. Expense that's included in here. I think this was the second year or the first year I put it in here, some expense in public works, because last year we were a little unsure as to whether or not anyone was answering the.
We went for
Emails.
a period of time where it was, we were sitting on some bills, but nobody.
They did
revenue.
They did pay the back years,
Yeah.
and caught up through this past year, I believe,
Mhm.
yeah. But, so I think, yeah.
You can put it into the revenues.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we do the pump out, that gets. It gets pulled out, we have volunteers that pull it out and stuff too, or get it to the shore, right, so there's no.
We volunteers for that, would you?
Yeah, well, coastal,
We all.
No, but it's gonna get pulled.
coastal rivers is sometimes available to bring it to the dock.
Bring it to the dock, yeah.
If not them, then the harbor master in the past has been able to do
Okay.
that. That said, we might still be able to utilize the person, but they won't be the harbor master if they, for next year.
Yeah.
So they've given their, I think Newcastle might have appointed one. I gotta ask them.
Yeah, it did, I don't remember his name.
Yeah,
Is it was Whitney, isn't it? Is Whitney the harbor master or the deputy?
Isn't it Eric Waite?
I have to ask them. I take it up in our next meeting.
Yeah.
But yeah, there have been the ability and some of the river goers, you know,
Yeah.
have been in a pinch before and they've been willing to chip in and, you
Yeah.
know, bring something ashore.
Yeah, that's what I'm just asking on like the operating with a grant.
Yeah.
The fund comes in, the grant's only for the pumping out of it,
Right.
but not if you had to pay somebody to go out and pull it in or pull it, you know.
I don't think it covers maintenance either. It's just pumping it out.
Pumping it out,
Okay.
and the insurance, one of the
Oh,
state
that's
harbor
good.
insurance.
Okay.
Interesting, yeah. I don't know if we've had any major maintenance issues, have we?
We've had to, John rebuilt one of the hand pump, it's nothing's digital, there's no
Yeah.
power on that thing, but he
It's just a
did
tank.
rebuild one of the hand pumps. We did have a spare one at least,
Yeah.
but he rebuilt one of them. It's gonna need to be replaced soon.
Yeah.
You know, there's 3 layers of fiberglass on the bottoms of those things, and we're probably through one of them, just in some spots, so.
Yeah, okay.
That can't be repaired, but it's also. When the time comes, we should consider having a meter on that, so folks know how much has gone into it, we could reset it every time it goes back, if someone,
Yeah.
otherwise, the only way to know it's full, cause it's such a shallow basin in there. Is when it starts coming out on the top.
Right,
And-
yeah.
And then,
And
you know, the process to bring it ashore and make it out of service sometimes is a day or two. And so people will pulled up there to try and then they'll open it up and more will spill out.
oh, yeah,
So
so
it's, yeah, there's no good way. We've looked at it. We wanna put a float system
we
in
keep
there.
getting stuck on stuff like this in the
Yeah,
bathroom.
put a float
Yeah.
system in it to notify you.
You
Um,
getting all that?
And.
it's very small quantities.
But it should be pretty easy to put a float system in that.
It's not a deep enough, well in there, basin in there to put a flow system in. We've asked about doing that.
Yeah.
But
How
it's
deep
so
is it?
shallow. It's a 750 gallon and it's probably
That's pretty wide, yeah.
2.5.
Yeah.
At the deepest, probably 3 feet at the deepest, I'd say, but the kind of curves up a little bit.
Yeah, I got you.
Dude, we talked about this, and I was off topic real quick, but with the grant for that, the pump out grant, whether there were stipulations, remember we talked about difference between commercial and,
I don't recall.
yeah. We'll, so revisit later on, I just couldn't remember, we talked about it, like, yeah. So,
We can look at that.
yeah. Alrighty, okay, so public work, or highway department. Right now. Okay. Okay, well, nobody else wants it, I'll throw it out there, we'll make a, motion to recommend, 831,270, for the highway department. And For a second for that one?
Sure, that's fine.
And I'll say, okay, yeah, just reluctant, nobody, yeah, don't fight over it. Okay, any other discussion
We're all
on
just
that?
getting just crossed.
I know, it is, I get it. Okay, hearing none, all those in favor? Yeah, I mean, and that's, it's really, you get into some of these and.
Yeah.
There are. It's cost to the municipality, like to operate and.
Yep.
Okay, so that takes us through.
This with cemetery to do with maybe.
Yeah, I might suggest you hold on that one. The bids will be back Monday for the second.
Or cemetery, okay, have you seen many?
None yet that I'm aware of, but they're due Monday. I imagine most will come in hand that day. Some will be in the mailbox, particularly over the weekend, but. I'm assuming most of them dropped off that day. Like, hopefully there's a few, couple at least.
Okay, so cemetery, we'll hold off on that one, we have, but community services is the only thing, oh, we did that, didn't we? No, sorry,
No,
we didn't do community services, yeah, that's right. That's basically the fireworks and watering plants.
I'll go with the fireworks, but not the plants.
Yeah. Gotcha, number doesn't change. Yeah, so that's what it includes, yeah, we've got, way it's split, it's 2,500 for fireworks and 500 for, basically for plants, I'd love to see the downtown businesses take on that and.
Well, the
put
plants
together
die.
something. They do.
They're dying to
Yeah.
dry out.
Yeah.
It's just, it seems like a waste of
Yeah.
money.
That's something I would like to see.
I love plants, but it's just, I agree.
Yeah.
It's just,
I think that's something we could.
it looks worse when they're just all.
And they're dead, they just don't, yeah, they don't last, and again, it's something that, you know, they all like the hangers out front and whatnot in the parking lot.
well, you're just putting gasoline on the fire. If you take the plants out, you keep the fireworks with some of the people in town.
I'm not keeping the fireworks.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm with you, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Do you want,
Yeah.
do you want a motion?
I think Dan was on top of that one, I think you.
I'll make a motion for, well, for the whole, well, I'm gonna do the fireworks at 2,500 and zero out the planners.
Okay,
And then, so the total community services appropriation for $2,500.
2,500, okay, so Dan's gonna motion for 2,500. Yeah, changing out
I
the,
was
just,
gonna second that.
yep, Tom seconded.
No, Daryl.
Oh, okay, I'll second.
You still have to vote on it.
All right, any more discussion? Hey, all those in favor? Okay, so
Sorry,
20.
just rolled over.
Yeah.
2,500.
Yeah. He'll talk to me.
Yep.
Recorded me somewhere. so-
Plants have to water themselves, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay, so we've got everything in operating except for cemetery. Okay,
That's everything,
yeah, we did debt service, yeah, that should be it, right?
Yeah, we did have another provider agency submit their signature petition, came in, I think, either yesterday or today. So that's another 15,000 on that number that they're. 70,064.
Okay, I got that.
Who's that?
YMCA.
Oh.
So what do you have currently
There were
for
20
a
left.
number?
Um,
You said there was another what,
There were
sorry?
20 left.
another 15, so that would go to 70,000.
7164, okay, that's current. All right,
It went up.
I think there's still 3 or 4 that submitted last year that haven't yet.
Yeah, so you've got
Three others
potential,
that
it was-
new, that were potentially new that might come in still.
yeah, that was just shy of 100,000 last year, 95 or something, yeah. So.
Is healthy kids on that list?
No, they're trying.
They are? Good.
I've been out,
Haven't submitted yet.
I know they've been out trying to get signatures, because somebody asked me to sign the other day. So, I don't know, they look like they had a way to go though, so, and it's really hard for them, really small. So thanks. To get.
It's very worthy cause,
Do, we wanna go back into some revenue, times it at 6? Okay, yeah, I just, I don't know how, what do you guys wanna get done, or how, whether you have any time restrictions or anything?
Because after this, you've gone through it.
Yeah, revenue is, yeah, yeah, I think we've got the hard stuff. Mine on page there.
Was it
15? Think so, it's around there, yeah.
That'll be a lot easier to track some of these.
Projected revenue for, yeah, page 15, yeah.
The first one there, more or less under highway, the auto excise. I think we were suggesting like the 545.
We went up to 25, you said, so was 540. 540, yeah. And you told us the revenue sharing was
Revenue sharing, yeah, that ends up another, I think, 30.
30.
So that's page 16.
Let's see, where's that? Just on the, yeah, there it is. Yeah. So that's 365.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, that went up what,
30,000.
Oh, okay,
So it's
366,
366,
okay, yeah, so I thought I heard, yeah. Okay, so that one's out.
And we changed interest to 100. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's right there.
Is there anything going on in Augusta that, because I keep trying to follow everything that's happening in the legislature, it's a couple of things. Yeah. Anything going to impact us next year potentially?
on the revenue side.
Yeah,
They keep flirting with increasing the reimbursement for GA. I don't know where that lands, but as high as 90% is being proposed, but I don't.
that's not a big number for us anyway.
It's not, no.
So,
Other than that,
What's the camper excise doing? Is that this
camper
year or
excise would decrease for us. We didn't think there was a ton on our end. Couple $100, I think we thought.
Yeah, I think it was $1,600.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they would
not
change, the proposal was to change that from MSRP to footage, like the boats are. So the analysis was like pennies on the dollar basically for towns.
Yeah.
And
yeah, there's a lot of, well, I think you've added it too, there's a lot of property tax proposals floating around out there, one sort or another.
yeah, I don't know if they're gonna do, if they do anything this year, it'll either likely be the homestead exemption or the fairness credit.
And they'll fund it's a lower, if it's revenue taken away from the towns, they'll
They'll do 100% of the, if they go and increase it from to 25,000 now, I think when they implemented it. What was it 12.5, I think, and now it's up, there was 15 or something there, so basically the state funds 100% of the difference from that number. So I think our reimbursement now is like 76%. But if they go up from 25 up to say 30,000, they gotta fund 100% of that 5,000. So that would take it up to 80 or 85%.
but then that would just be a wash for us.
Yeah, it would shift the tax burden a little bit more, because we're only getting a portion of that amount back.
Yeah, you'll get the full
Amount
amount.
would actually almost be a little bit for us.
Okay, yeah.
Those that have enrolled in it, good for them, but it does shift that burden.
Okay.
Yeah, no one though, I believe, is proposing 100%, in any of the bills. No, we would prefer it to be there because it's a state reimbursement program and only because it was started before the date or whatever that clocked it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing for, I mean, they probably won't do a lot on the property tax stuff until they finish up the study. The preliminary reports in and they just, I think they just put a call out for commitment, tax commitment for 24 from towns. They want to analyze data a little bit more closely. I assume that was part of that work. See, I don't see that. I mean, the other one, and we've already accounted for raising the fees in some of those fees within the planning and development. Permit fees and such.
Right, yeah.
Assuming that will make positive changes or increases on those before the year starts.
I wasn't here when they discussed this, but why is this? Okay.
The shellfish program is now part of the general fund. It's a special revenue, consider a special revenue account, Cheryl.
It's considered your own revenue, I
Its own
think, yeah.
separate, it's its own separate
Okay.
fund. So all the revenues from that go to their account.
Alright.
And so it's not something that goes to the general fund.
There's some things that are affecting the schools potentially, right, on other parts of education. It's, but that'll just come through this. It's fine. In terms of special ed and some other stuff.
Yeah, I don't, again, for this calendar, this school year coming up, I don't think there's anything that was jumping out. There was consideration for changing the review and the EPS funding model. So again, similarly, like for us, for the schools, that's their big offset subsidy, and so they want to review
Right.
that. There's some old benchmarks in there for adjustments for income, and they're using numbers from like 2000 census or something.
Mm.
It's a bit out, some of the pieces of it are a bit outdated.
Yeah.
And so they're reviewing that, so they won't have anything until that gets done on that part of it. The funding model for buildings, new schools, they're reconsidering that as well. Typically, it's like we have this amount of money to utilize and provide to school districts to rebuild. And it was kind of like everyone was competing, and they're trying to see if there's a way for them to give less, but to give to more. And so that's been met with some mixed reactions, because that would mean a higher funding burden on the local levels that wasn't otherwise there. But more places can get more money this year. Yeah, nothing that's just jumped out at me. I mean, most of it's I just tracked the service center coalition. The schools are a big one, because some of those bigger places that are service centers have their own school department.
Yes.
We're part of a regional, so we're so small, but
Yeah.
yeah, so that one's active on their radar. Yeah, there's nothing else that I remember and off the top of my head that would
Yeah.
potentially generate or significantly reduce or risk us losing anything. Until the day comes that we're either choose to actively enforce MUBEC standards for new construction, or if they force it upon us. Right now, it's required to be built, but we're not obligated to actively enforce it or inspect it. Presumably that'd be another pass-through cost. Some towns have it set up that it's just a third-party inspection period, and you submit the report to us before you get a certificate of occupancy. I assume that's probably the way we end up going, unless the county can pool resources with the county and other towns to create a central system to do that. Yeah, I don't think there was anything else that was jumping off other than discussion around the use of the fund balance. On that page here. Pilots is of course a question mark, whether we can hustle to get that out. Did put in for the intern for the summer. One of the things on that list could be to help pick that up again.
Right.
Yeah, adventure, I guess, as to what it would yield, but
And we haven't reflected any potential changes to the fee schedule yet.
there is.
Yeah.
It is assuming that they see the building permit for
Yeah.
any development. It's assuming that we're making those changes, at least in those. The other places that it would show up would be in, fines for police department if issued.
But we haven't done any sort of business registration ordinance, or anything of that. That's-
Franchise fees is a pretty healthy number that. Kind of held at that 0.1 thousand range. Is what it is. It's all based on what the, so most, I think it's just Spectrum really, the question on the Tidewater account. I think that one, there is a franchise agreement with them. That's been a few years since we've gotten revenue from that. I think there's more dogs in town than the 750 we're budgeting reflects, but. Yes, if they all registered them on time and they're only $6 a piece. Still think there's more than that in town.
Well, some of us lost ours, so that's gonna reduce your revenues.
So on revenue right now, done a couple different ways, and we've gone through department wise and moved the revenue separately. That's usually what we.
Usually it's its own separate warrant article.
Yeah.
I tried to complicate things by showing where some departments do have kind of more of a direct offset.
No, that's
but.
So I'm just trying to, for ease of making a motion now, we did move admin
Mhm.
with the difference, the 156,420. So I'm just trying to, so if we were to make a motion to approve the total revenues.
Mhm.
How does that do with the previous motion? Because
How
I just,
about, how about with what input you've provided so far, I can redraft something to try and make it look a little easier, because that second page, page 16 gets a little complicated with the state reimbursement.
with the state reimbursements,
Some
yeah,
of them are baked into the, you
Yeah.
have to utilize and offset taxes directly in the tax calculation.
Gotcha,
Some
okay.
don't really approve it, it just goes in there.
Okay.
Some of them we would potentially be approving. Tree growth reimbursement is one that, you know, would, like, we would approve it, we get what we get.
You're right, yeah.
We're at risk if we don't do a factor this year of losing that entirely.
Mhm.
Cause the valuation return shows us at like 56%.
Mhm.
And when you're below, I don't know if it's below 70 or below 65 or something like that, this is one we would lose. Homestead goes down even further, I think it's 18 or something right now, 15 or 18 right now, so it would go even lower. But yeah, so I can clean this up in a way that reflects more what the warrant article would look like, if that would be helpful.
Yeah, I just think it's making it easy. I know we made a motion. I just don't know if, like, if you make the motion again, like for the total. We made a motion for a particular department, but
Right.
you know, it would be easier, yes, to go say like, you know,
Mhm.
all of this, we added 25,000 into it, so
Right.
you're 916,825,
Yeah, I'll
Plus
bump out those
25.
two more columns there, and I'll fill in the ones that you did approve through the admin one already, and then. Show what's left like we did with the overview on the.
okay, then we can make the motion and on the balance, and then it'll be on the warrant article. Yeah, I just wanna make sure we're all on the same page, I get ahead of you, ahead of us anyway. On doing that, okay.
Okay.
So that's fine, we can do that next, whatever, next meeting or something, so,
Yeah, we should get that ready for next week.
yeah, that's easy enough, okay, thank you, Henry.
Then you just have that and cemetery.
Cemetery,
That's cemetery, right, is that?
that's it, right?
That's it. Yeah,
Wow.
And we have, so we have a meeting before the meeting next week.
At this moment, you do, yeah.
Yeah.
I assume you wanna keep that.
because we do,
We can
we get
do
the
that.
last two there, cemetery,
Yeah.
whatever,
A
yeah,
regular meeting at
Oh,
5:30.
okay.
yeah, so there's those two other.
And then we'll be done. In terms of,
Okay,
yeah,
all right,
okay,
Yeah, effectively, you're left with just kind of policy related stuff at that point. You would have recommended all your numbers, but we just, our notes will reflect, oh yeah, we have to make sure to add this to the work for next year and make sure we follow up on that, the fee schedule.
The fee schedule,
right,
Forward,
yeah.
yeah, and there's stuff that's coming out of this too, like. My guess is that. You know, if nobody's happy with transfer station, then maybe there's a group that needs to look at the transfer station alternatives. Whatever those might be, I think of 3 or 4, so.
Mhm.
That sort of thing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of sort of on the table with the public works.
Yeah,
Not actively being considered, but it's one of those, like, if this proceeds, let's make sure the land is big enough to accommodate it. And in the future, you could look at bringing that in-house at least, on that property, and that's as far as they've gotten with that idea.
Yeah.
But this board and their board were both interested in pursuing it, and we do owe them an email, both of them, Will and Jefferson, to see if they've had a chance to discuss our acceptance or expansion of their council of government.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that would, looking at it from a budget point of view, it would be, you know, I think it would be a lot more comfortable to know, like, okay, what do you have coming down the pipe for, you know, how are you going to fund $1 million reinvestment in this property, like, how is that gonna happen, and we don't have that right now, nor do we have a say in it.
Right.
So, you know, could very well come through like, yeah, oh, no, we know how to fund it. Hey, the contract went up, and yeah, that's just, and
Yeah, because between Newcastle and ourselves and maybe throw in Bremen, I don't know. You're talking $400,000 a year between those 3 towns. And so, can you run a transfer station for that amount, including the capital cost, right? You know.
yeah,
amortized over-
that's
over time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the question.
Yeah,
for Public Works.
And really, as of right now, they're
Does that
running,
make sense?
they're covering admin or operating, but not really any capital. Right, so it's, they bond and it gets swallowed up in the fees that we pay or down pay, so, yeah. So, some unknowns there that are uncomfortable.
Just out of curiosity, what's their revenue? I mean, they don't charge a lot and they don't charge on an assistant basis, but.
Yeah, so whatever the demo, anything you have to pay cash for up there is, the other revenue that comes in, I can't remember off the top of my head.
It's all in here, it's all in this.
Roughly,
here,
it's
so it's
$100,000 a year or?
Outside of what the towns pay?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's more than that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Starting at 37, right, that you go through there.
Which page?
37 on 108 starts was the minutes of their last meeting, annual meeting.
They had a lot of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there.
That's all right, I can. include it.
So is this the revenue, on page 49?
Page 40, yeah, 8 shows what the towns pay in, and 25, the towns collectively paid 605. Other revenue is the 412. And 25.
Gotta be
So
something.
demos most of it, 333,025.
Yeah.
Yeah, metal, there's a little bit of revenue made back on. I guess this includes, that is the revenue, but so there's a little bit more to it than that, because I think there's, an arrangement with the person that hauls it. There's no expense for it, they take some of the tip, I believe, I can't remember exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So if we represent 2/3 of the revenue. About 400,000 of 600. Would it be fair to say we're 2/3 of the. Potentially of all of the other stuff? If the demo and tires, metal and sort of stuff.
It's possible, I think you'd wanna understand a little bit more, I mean, what the demo, where it's coming from. In that case.
And what they charge per ton or something, or drop per
Pound,
but I think it's by the
I
pound.
think it's about a pound.
for either way, yeah, by the weight.
It's way, but yeah, it's way base.
Yeah.
That's a good point,
Yeah, because then
You
you,
know, that's an offset for Lamar Town.
yeah, so, right. Yeah. Or it just, this is, you just have to, yeah, there you go, yeah, so you just have to, yeah. That would be an interesting little exercise to go through.
Yeah, the way they currently assess the fee to the towns is they don't look at the demo and those other things that generate revenue directly. So look at the personnel cost, the cost of moving solid waste. Whatever some of the other ones were, and they just basically, whatever they get for revenue, in theory offsets the cost of those lines, it's a little. Once we knew that's how they were doing it, it's like, oh, okay, now you see you're doing that, but makes it a little hard to follow in the trio again, the whole budget, whereas for us, we're putting every expense out there.
Yeah.
Estimating it in some cases, but, so it's a slightly different approach.
Yeah, we ought to do a little modeling before we raise our voice too loud.
Yeah, no, I think that's what we're going for, right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, your options are to stand up your own transfer station or basically do curbside or find another place to negotiate and contract. Right. Beyond those three options, I'm not sure. What else is readily, I mean, wouldn't open landfill.
No,
Can't burn it.
Yeah,
For sure. Look at an incinerator, but it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, right. We've got a solar array on our old one, so
Yeah.
maybe I say we don't want to understand that. Yeah, no shooting rats on Saturday night anymore.
That's,
Excuse me. Okay. No, is that it, everybody? Are we?
yeah, that is a wild question. I mean, are any towns looking at health insurance options other than the main municipal association?
It comes up from time to time, and there's an email.
That's a big number and it's increasing at such a high rate. And
Yeah, I mean, historically, whenever it's been looked at, though the numbers are high, it almost always comes back to just the best price. When you compare it, because it's such a big.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's anecdotal, but I know that a couple of my colleagues have put some questions on the listserv and it's going around right now. This is the time of year it's
Okay,
away. Usually picks up again in October, November for towns on calendar years. But you know, when we've shopped it in the past, and it's not recently, but it's always come back to MMA is the most competitive
Yeah.
pricing. I mean, it's its own separate board made up of select board members and treasurers and town managers and
is it like a separate little trust kind of thing?
Yeah. municipal employee health trust.
Yeah.
Yep. So they're working for the benefit of and trying to keep the cost down. You mentioned what you saw your.
Yeah,
costs went up and-
I mean, we've had to, you know, dive in the weeds a little bit, but as a company, we've had to remodel our entire
Do you,
health.
you guys self-insure?
Well, we have a couple different models, so we have conventional insurance.
Yeah.
We use a kind of a central company that handles it, but most of us are through a co-op plan now, basically through, we're like self-pay, but it's a co-op program.
It's sort of like going out to an exchange and getting it? or-
Well, no, it's done through it's a company called Health Access Solutions. And yeah, the only thing I can describe really is like, there's a preventative side to it. And there's a major needs side of it. And basically, so what, if I back up a little, so what's happened is, yeah, we've seen these in the past 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, there's been some huge increases. I know one of the most recent ones was, you know, it was like 25%. And it just,
Yeah.
and so there was a complete rethinking of how, you know, our company was gonna keep providing, because we provide 100% insurance for employees, so, and families. So I have, I'm covered, anybody that has family, we're covered, and it's a huge number when you see that, and they we've had to shift around to see how can we still do that and afford it.
Yeah.
And so there's the programs we're on now are they're good. I mean, we have we go through full circle. We have a couple of different primary cares that we subscribe to. And that's reimbursed through the Health Access Solutions program as a preventative. So we have that, and then they call them needs. It's not really a claim, it's a need. And most of us go through there. So the idea behind it is now that if somebody needs something, we come in as a cash payer. Which if you deal in the medical community, if you go to a hospital and say, hey, how much is this gonna cost? They're so used to dealing with insurance that you can't get a number. Like, I don't know, like, well, we're gonna pay for this upfront. What are you gonna give me for this? And
Yeah.
there's some significant differences in savings.
Well, there's no administrative cost for the health insurance.
Right, and the trouble is, like, everybody's set up that way. They're all prepared for that administrative fight, you know, so, you know, listen, we need to pad the bill 40% to get it down where we need to, and so it's an interesting. There's a little more legwork to it, but we've had some significant bills. I had one that family member, and I not getting personal stuff, but it started out at like, I think it was close to 60,000, and by the time it was paid in a early payment and cash, I think they reduced it like $23,000.
Yeah.
You know, it was just a ridiculous amount of money. So there, but it's yeah, I mean, it works. There's a little more patient involvement to it. You have to do the paperwork, you have to follow up on stuff. So folks that don't like it, it used to just say, here's my insurance card and do the work for me. There's a little more work on the patient end. But it's a different way of doing it, and it seems to work.
Yeah.
But we did, yeah, because we had these, again, huge increases that were just coming through that are unsustainable. You know, annually 20%, 30%, like, okay. So when I saw like the 9%, I'm like, oh, that's cheap.
Yeah.
But in sport, yeah, you're going through a large market. You've got a group together. That's the only way you can do it. And we were so to back up a little bit, we were getting. And I can't think. I don't do much on the oil side of the company, but through the main oil dealers, that's where they had co-op insurance through them. So we had like the best, you know, group to buy from, and it was still going sky high. So even that being said, we had to do our own thing. So keep it going. But yeah, it's crazy. Whew. Yeah. Easy numbers.
Yeah, no, the reason I was curious, cause I did some taxes for somebody who works for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Not disclosing anything, but I had a hard time understanding how they cover it, cause you have to have insurance, you know.
Yeah,
and, you
yeah,
know,
we
there's
usually get like a
It's a
disclosure.
question we have to ask.
Yeah,
Well, you're
yeah.
finding out what it is on the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
Change and stuff, and the, I mean,
Yeah.
but she couldn't explain it to me.
It is,
And I was just like, oh, okay.
it's hard to explain, and what happens is when you call, like, if you had, when we first started doing this, you would, something simple, you needed whatever, an MRI or something like that, not simple, but you know,
Yeah.
and you'd call up, I had a colleague that called the hospital and said, I need a XYZ, okay. And, I need to know how much it's gonna cost up front. Like, well, what's your insurance? Like, it's not what I asked. What's it gonna cost up front? Okay, well, what do you have for insurance? And he's like, well, I don't have, well, okay, you don't have insurance, we'll get you the financial, you know, we'll get you the assist forms or the, you know, and he's like, no, I don't need assistance. I want to pay you. I'm gonna walk in the door and write a check and pay you for that project. And they really had to go like, we have no idea. And I took them 3 or 4 days to get back to him. And it was one of those ones where it's like, hey, any idea how much an MRI is gonna cost? And they just kind of come up with a number, because it's unfortunately, it's not normal. They're used to fighting those numbers. So it is a hard one for us to describe sometimes, and on the provider's end, they're not used to it. So they're kind of, wait a minute, and, yeah. I try to tell the one that we dealt with, we just told, look, just pretend like a rich uncle's paying our bill. How much are you gonna charge me? Like, that's it. Don't worry where it's coming from, but. Yeah, so it does work. I'm pleased with what we've had to use it for in the coverage. It just does require more input from the,
Yeah.
you know, the patient, but, you know, it offsets, so. But if it's any good, yes, sir. Oh, anything else budget related? You good? Cheryl, got anything to add? You sure?
You guys went over your allotted time.
I know, we kept it, boy. It's
Oh,
almost till
it's 2 hours.
6:30.
We got a lot done.
We're almost
You guys
6:30.
did.
We got a lot
2
done.
hours, yeah.
Yeah, I think 5 more minutes, I think now 2 hours.
I think you're 6:30 and we're 5 minutes, yeah, we've got 4 minutes, so, no, we won't do that. Motion to adjourn, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Carol seconds, in discussion, all those in favor? Okay,